About 6 weeks later, I saw the same officer. Why haven't we attacked Iraq? We still going to attack Iraq? He said, "Oh, sir." He says, "It's worse than that." He said, he pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, "I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office. It says we're going to destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq.
We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan,
Says we're going to
and Iran. Says we're going to attack Iraq. He said, "Oh, sir." He says, "It's worse than that." He said.
He pulled up a piece of paper off
his desk. He said, "I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office. It says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years.
We're going to start with Iraq.
We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran."
7 countries in 5 years.
7 countries in 5 years. I said, "Is that a classified memo?"
"Yes, sir."
He said,
I said, "Well, don't show it to me."
I said, "Well, don't show it to me." He was about to show it to me. He said, "Because I want to talk about it." And
all right, peace. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, give honor and praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Giving double honors to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. Giving double honors to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. All right, brothers and sisters, I want to go into a lesson today. And I want to entitle this, "The Reason Why the War is Taking Place with these Middle Eastern countries is because of the beginning stages of what they would call BRICS, right? And if you don't really know, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, why am I bringing them into this equation? It's because these quote-unquote Middle Eastern countries that started to break away from America, a lot of these countries are starting to go with the BRICS, right, which is an acronym for basically the countries that came together under one consent. And like I said, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So, as you can see, Wesley K Clark, which was a general, he was talking about how Donald Rumsfeld was saying that they was going to invade Iraq, basically 7 regions in the course of 5 years. Now, they may have, quote-unquote, a 5-year gap, but a lot of times, as you can see, it won't necessarily be in 5 years, right? It's because we're dealing with that situation even to this day. All the reasons that they're talking about that they have invaded, like they basically kind of took over, they have pretty much destabilized all these different areas. Because they whole key is to destabilize them. If they can't control them outright, they're going to destabilize the area. And see, we see that in Libya. We see that in Iraq. We see that in Yemen. We see it in Syria. We see it in Iran. And we see it in the Sudan. And I think it's another one just as well. But they have destabilized all these different regions. Rather they're not outright controlling it themselves. They have caused chaos and confusion. And see, the reason why I'm talking about this is because a lot of times, we don't keep a note of things that people will say 10 or 15, 20, 30 years ago. And I believe that this statement that was made by Wesley Clark, he said this maybe about 10 years ago, give or take. He made this statement. And one of the reasons why he came out and made the statement is because he had some rumblings with the government himself, is because he was accused of talking about top secret information with a woman that he had a relationship with. So when he did that, he was forced to retire because I think when he made that statement to the female, he was an active general. So when he did that, he was scrutinized heavily for that. Now, I don't know if he did that on purpose to basically get out of certain things, but he did do that. He talked about top secret information with a woman that he was having an affair with. He was messing around with or whatever. And it had came out, so he had to resign. So like from that point on, he was making a lot of statements in the media about what the United States intentions are. And I'm saying that to say this. He made another statement. I just showed a snippet of it. But he also made a statement. I think Afghanistan is Afghanistan is 7. But he made a statement about Afghanistan, and he said that he's glad that they went over there and invaded them and took them, pretty much kind of took them over. It's because, see, he's under the impression that what it is that he's doing is a righteous thing. See, when he made that statement, because under the white supremacy educational system, they teach us that the nations that are not allied to them are enemies. And see, like, his education was probably far more different than the modern day education that we go through today. Because, see, he came up in the era where you had systematic racism in the country, where the black man was considered the savage, the brute beast. So a lot of us in our educational system, it's a lot different. It's kind of covert. But see, like back then, his educational system, he was raised according to what Donald Trump is talking about, making America great again. See, so when he made that statement, he's coming from the standpoint of the educational system, that his parents, his father and things of this nature, how they passed that stuff down to him. So when we look at the war that's going on with Iran and the Jews, because the Jews are what you would call the military police for the United States. See, the United States is trying to act like they're not involved in this, that the state of Israel basically did all this by themselves. No, they did not. They didn't do this by themselves. They did this under the behest of the United States and their allies, is because because they're going off of the same thing that Donald Rumsfeld has been trying to do, or the Bush administration been trying, Bush Jr., what they've been trying to do for the past 10, almost 15 years. They've been trying to take over these regions. So when we're looking at this situation, we're seeing what General Wesley Clark is talking about. He was talking about this 10, 15 years ago. Because if you look at the chessboard of the 7 regions, I think Afghanistan was 1, Syria, that's 2, Iraq 3, Yemen is 4, Libya is 5, the Sudan is 6, and if I didn't say Iraq, I think Iraq is 7. But I'm just not all in alphabetical order. But what I'm saying is that these are the reasons that they want to take over. And this is why they're over there. This is why they're trying to invade Iran right now. It's because I believe that Iran is the last on the chessboard of the 7 regions that Wesley Clark was talking about in 5 years. But we got to take this in consideration. They're not going to be able to do it in quote unquote 5 years. That's just a random number that they throw out. But this is what they're doing. This is what we're seeing on television. And if you're paying close attention to the situation, the state of Israel just fired rockets at Iran where they had decapitated their internet. So why are they trying to do that? It's because they know that if this war continues between Iran and Israel, it's going to have to be a bloody campaign and a bloody war. It's because Iran they're not gonna go down without a fight. And see, this can potentially spiral out of control, and it can start what you would call a third world war. Even though we're already in the third world war. And why is the United States trying to come against these countries? It's because a lot of these countries are allied to Russia. Let's look at a scripture. Let's turn to the book of Ezekiel, 38th chapter. Excuse me. The book of Ezekiel, 38th chapter. I'm going to read from the first verse. And it says, "And the word of Yahweh came unto me, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith Yah, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal." And see, what a lot of people don't understand is that Russia is Gog in the land of Magog today. See, the ancient name of Russia is the land of what? Magog. See, so we're talking about Gog in the scriptures. We're talking about Russia because the Tubal River is over there in Russia. So it says, "I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords." So what does it mean by when it says that I'm going to turn thee back? That means that they're not going to be able to do things on their own. The person that's going to be doing that, the motivating factor behind them, is the Creator. See, the Creator is the one that's going to bring forth Gog, right? And unleash Gog in the land of Magog amongst the people. But let's look at verse 5. It says, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all them with shields and helmets. So Persia is quote unquote Iran today. Ethiopia, see, really Ethiopia is really, that's a Greek term. And it really stands for the dark-skinned people. And Libya, see. So when we looking at Wesley Clark making a statement about the countries that they was talking about invading, they already, see, they invaded Libya and destabilized it. They destabilized the Sudan. It has always been destabilized. But see, you have in those regions over there, you got Russia and you got China over there. So even though the land is destabilized, Russia and China is still over there. And then you got Persia. Persia is an ally to Russia. And let me hit you with something. You have a lot of people, the advisors and stuff like that, they read the Bible just like we do. See, your modern day warlocks and magicians and stuff like that, they read this Bible just as well. And see, one of the reasons why the Jews want to take over Syria and things of this nature is because it's a part of their land. Not their land, it's really the so-called black man's land. But it's the land that they're occupying. So that's why they pushing the Palestinians farther. They want to get them out of Israel altogether. This is why they over there in Syria. It's because they want to control those regions. It's because some of those regions are promised to Abraham. So the Christians and the Jews, or quote unquote the Judo-Christians, they believe that they have just as much right to the land as the quote unquote Muslims do. And they feel like they have more of a right to the land than the Muslims. This is why they go into war against them, is because they look at them as heathens. The Christians and the Jews believe that they are the chosen ones of the Creator. That when they do military strikes, when they run around here killing women and children, they believe that they're doing it under the behest of the Creator. But in actuality, they're following the adversary. Let's look at another scripture. Let's turn to Matthew 24. Matthew 24. I'm going to start reading at the 4th verse. And Yahshua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. See, the world today has been deceived, brothers and sisters, because they believe that the Messiah is a person that's born of a virgin birth. They believed that the Messiah was the one that was nailed to the cross. They believe that the Jews that's over there today are the indigenous people of the country. They believe that the Israelites practice Judaism. They believe in Christmas, Easter, the so-called New Year, January the 1st. Then you got a lot of us that we believe that the customs and traditions that the Jews are practicing via our way of life, they believe that the Jews is actually keeping Passover, or that the nation of Israel follow Hanukkah and all this type of stuff. So we have already been deceived. And it says, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. This is what we looking at today. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And what are some of the famines that we looking at? We're looking at the food today is being spoiled. And what is another famine and a pestilence? That you see a lot of these migrants coming from their country and they're invading the United States of America. See, that's a pestilence and a famine to the world. That's why they're trying to get them out of the country. And also we see earthquakes. We see physical earthquakes, and also an earthquake can be spiritual just as well when we looking at all these quote-unquote riots in the streets. See, because when a earthquake starts, you know, what do? It bursts out a lot of lava and things of this nature. And if it's not destabilized to a certain extent, it can do what? It can burn everything up around it. And that's what you see in with these uprisings around the world. So an earthquake don't necessarily have to be something that's been brewing for out of the water for thousands of years, 500 something years. Next thing you know, it started bursting out fire and ash and stuff like that. The earthquake that the Creator is talking about too is what? Chaos and confusion. So when it says, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquake in diverse places, what is that? That's chaos and confusion. This is what we see around the world today. All these are the beginning of sorrows. See? So the Iranian war and stuff like that, and see, well, who's going to get involved in that? It's going to be Russia. The ancient name is Gog. They gonna get involved in this. And it's really gonna spiral out of control is because America's gonna get involved in this. Let's look at something. Revelation 19. One second. One second. Revelation 19:17, it says, and I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourself together unto the great supper of the great Most High, or the great Elohim, And what is that? That's the Third World War. It says, take ye that ye may eat the flesh of the kings and the flesh of the captains and the flesh of the mighty men and the flesh of horses and them that sit on them and the flesh of all men. And it says, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. So what is this? This talking about the Battle of Armageddon, which is the Third World War. So when they talking about that they fighting against the Creator and things of this nature, right? You can't physically see the Creator. You're going to see the Creator through what? Through the acts of people. So them trying to knock down Iran and Russia and China and all their allies is them fighting against the Creator. Because why? The Creator said this. Let's turn to Psalms. I think it's 75:7. It says, Psalm 75:7. But Elohim is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, peace.